Hello. What's up, Gator Dog? Am I coming through okay? So, I have a new mic, so I'm not sure if it's coming through okay, but I'm hoping it is. So, you guys tell me, am I coming through okay? Is the music too loud? Is it alright? I feel like it might be a little too loud. Okay. Stop slouching. Sounds fine, good. Alright. So, welcome, Zoids and whoever else decides to curse themselves with my meanderings. I'm like a 60-year-old, only a 60-year-old, like a 75-year-old man that just rambles and is incoherent. That's me. Yeah, this is, here, I'll put the link in the, not the description, but like in the chat, just in case you guys want to check it out on your own. It's a band called North. I don't know. I'm saying it right, or North. Point is, yeah, it's Danish. It's a Danish band, and it's really, really good. Really cool ambient doom metal stuff. I feel like doom metal is a very Zoidy genre. It's just kind of like this weird kind of resigned doom sludge. You know, it's like a sludge kind of metal. It's not like high speed. It's like boom, boom. You know, like just like a like funeral. It's almost like funeral metal, like somber occasion metal. It has like the growls and stuff like you would find in like sometimes like Death or Black, but it's like slow and marching. I like it. A lot of it's like that. Not all of it, but some of it. A lot of doom metal. Or, yeah. I mean, this band consider themselves Black Funeral Doom. So, it's cool. I feel like these would be like soundtracks for like, you know, like Souls games if they had metal in them. It's just like this kind of, you live in this like just falling apart, you know, like cursed world kind of thing. So anyway, welcome to the Schizoid Angst, Schizoid Takes Tuesday, where I talk about my takes on this or that or another thing or whatever it is I want to discuss or talk about. I kind of been doing that on Saturday too, but I don't know. I'm not sure what certain things I want to do because I just haven't been thinking of very good questions. Oh, just a heads up, this Saturday is my daughter's birthday, so I'm not going to be streaming this Saturday. So yeah, Doomslayer on ketamine. Yeah, that's exactly this music is just Doomslayer on ketamine. But yeah, I'm not going to be streaming that day because, yeah, it's my daughter's birthday. I'm going to do some stuff. Miscellaneous endeavors. You ever heard of Acid Witch? I heard they're doom metal, but they have an almost cheesy Halloween thing. That's sick. If you're on the server, just post it in the music section or like DM me on Discord if you're on like the server or whatever. But if you're already a schizoid on there, then I would say put it in music posting because that sounds cool. Acid Witch. Actually, I found, sorry, I'm going off a little bit, but I found, this, because as I've told everyone, like, I've like, tempered my algo on YouTube over the last few years, and it feeds me, like, weird stuff, and I love it. But it gave me, like, some album from some channel that had, like, I don't know, 1.7k subs, but, like, it would, it was, like, synth, but the theme was, like, dinosaurs and, like, dungeons or something. It's like it was like dinosaur. No, not dungeon. It was like ambient dinosaur dungeon synth music. I don't even know what you would call it. It was cool. Yeah, it was rad. But it was like it was one of the supposed artists that created it was a Tyrannosaurus Hex, which pretty awesome. Oh, there's acid. Well, acid bath I know, but that's not what I'm thinking. That's not acid witch. Yeah, acid bath. I'm sure there's a few bands called acid bath at this point, but it's just kind of funny. Okay, so I want to talk about parenting today. Let's get into it. And remember, guys, if anyone here wants to like volunteer sometime to like say do some of the stuff I said, which is get like, if you already watch the streams as a VOD or whatever, and you want to get it to use AI like Gemini to create like a timestamp of what's the most relevant stuff I said, and then like either yourself or someone else, you can give it to me and I'll give it to somebody else that's also volunteering to do like clip editing on my streams so that I can have more regular content. Because even though you guys watch this, it's not helping the channel, and I know, and I've been told that I say stuff that's important sometimes, and I don't have time to edit and clip and put stuff together. I got a whole life that I have to deal with. Bills and such. To be 40 again. No, I am 40. I'm not on Discord. Check out the song Witchtanic Hallucinations whenever you get a minute. I'll just remember, I probably won't remember the name of the song, but I'll remember Acid Witch. I can remember that. It's pretty novel. So I'm a dad, for those of you that don't know. I'm sure the handful of people that do watch this, 100 plus that end up watching these, know that I'm a dad, and I probably mention it here and there, but I'm a dad of 2 daughters. Right? I have an older one. She is 13. I have a younger one. She's 5. And yeah, a little bit of a difference there in age. So what I want to talk about mainly is not just parenting in general, more about what it's like and what I've had to do to be a good parent, or the best parent I can be, and still have a lot of these like, and I've been working on, and my symptoms have been improving, some, not all, and my behaviors have obviously changed significantly over the last few years, especially the last 4. Yeah, I just want to talk a bit about how, if you're a schizoid and you have kids, whether it was like you intended to have them, or you were on, I don't know, just something happened, whatever. I know there's some out there that probably might have kids. Probably not very many. Or maybe you're a zoid that's like thought, I don't know, maybe kids would be something, but I would be a terrible parent, or I would be no good, or you know, my daughter has prom coming up, and my youngest daughter is turning 16. There you go. So just like any other personality disorder, a lot of the behaviors and adaptations, and some say maladaptations, they can affect your ability to parent, right? I've talked to zoids that are parents that say that they like feel responsible, and you know, they feel it's their ethical duty to take care of their child and everything, but that they feel shame because they don't feel like emotionally connected to their kid, because they don't feel emotionally connected to anyone or almost anything. So that's a struggle I've heard before. But honestly, that's a struggle that I think can be overcome, but would take quite a bit of time and a bunch of other ways. But if you were to, you too can, feel more emotionally connected to your child. But I know what's interesting is that most zoids that are parents, that I have, the few that I've talked to, they're all like pretty good parents, because on a, well, at least I don't know all the details, but I know that, they provide. So, they do have strong ethics usually. So it's like, yeah, it's my child. I provide, I take care, all that sort of stuff, right? I obviously, I'm not just that with my kids. My kids is like, they are like one of the strongest emotional connections I've ever been able to establish in my entire life. It's my wife, and I'm not going to retell the story of how that ended up happening, and then my kids. And I was actually scared when I had my first kids, thinking like, oh man, like, am I just going to feel like just as kind of like weird and empty about them as like I am about most people? because of my stuff. Back then, I didn't know that it was schizoid stuff. I just thought like I just always feel kind of disconnected. Um, and in my case, it was not the case, so I got lucky there. So emotionally, I was connected, but especially with my first child who's now 13, I did make some mistakes, in the sense that I wasn't present, mentally. I was always there. I'm not a deadbeat dad or anything like that, but mentally I wasn't present. I was still in my head, and but I always made sure to like be active. But I feel like when my first one was smaller, I wasn't like in the. I was still zoiding out like all the time, and so like sometimes I would approach stuff in a way that wasn't very like as sensitive as I would have liked, right? Let's just say, or I didn't notice stuff, or I would be kind of insensitive, or to my wife and stuff. You know, like I would be like, "Oh, well, what's the problem? We don't have to do that," or "Why do we have to do that? That's like a waste of money and weird." And like, you know, I used to do more of that kind of stuff, and I was kind of projecting my indifference, also my kind of like sensitivity to my autonomy. Schizoids have, and like not wanting to take part in things, not wanting to go to the events or things like that. Or if I did go, I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't present. I was just kind of like either anxious or like just zoned out or in my head or something. And I feel like and I certainly hope my oldest daughter didn't ever feel that way. She's never said as much, but like I feel like kids can maybe detect it, even if like you're good at like being like, oh yeah, like, you know, when Christmas comes around, you're like, Santa, you know. And I don't know. I feel like kids can pick that stuff up. Maybe my oldest got lucky. My youngest, though, she's not really getting much of that kind of indifference and floatiness, because I've been improved significantly. Well, I mean, I try not to blame myself, Gator Dog, because it was, you know, it's all trauma stuff and everything. But point is, if you do become a parent and you know you're schizoid already, like, you know, I'm schizoid, and you become a parent, then you have to make those efforts because you know. I wish I could go back in time and be more present in the past, but I can't go back in time. So I'm very present, and have been for the last few years, very mentally present, because I've been working at this for a while, with my oldest daughter and my little one as well. And like I said, I don't want people to hear present and think like meaning like around. I was around. I've been around, and like on paper, I've been a good dad, but like my connection to the external world was kind of like loosey-goosey, and yeah, I feel like I missed out on stuff because I don't have like a bunch of like, I don't have, how do I put this? Like, I don't have a lot of memories of like when my oldest was like really little, because I was so just kind of like, I was still in that zoidy void headspace where I was just going through the motions and feeling like just kind of empty inside and all that sort of stuff, right? And the one thing I always made sure, even before I knew about the Zoid stuff or the title or whatever the term, was that I didn't want my emptiness to affect them. So I would essentially, yes, I would still kind of mask, even when I felt anhedonic and disinterested in something that, like, you know, family get together, you know, because obviously my You know, they need to meet grandma or aunts and stuff. I mean, and grandma and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, yes, it is my responsibility. Correct. And I think I did well when it came to my responsibility, but I don't think I did well on like being present mentally, like I do now. Anyway, so what advice, right? What can we discuss as far as like how do you do these things, right? And I think another thing to worry about is projecting your own views of humanity, the world, other people, your indifference, your dismissal, your pessimism, right? Often schizoids are very pessimistic people onto your children, right? So like a good example would be like, I don't know, your kids want to go to a thing, right? They want to go to a thing that you're like, I never want to go to that. I don't know why I would ever go to that. And then that feeling, that discomfort supersedes you doing it, right? That's when it can become a problem, right? So if like your kid is like, oh, I want to have a party at Chuck E. Cheese, and then you think, oh my god, so many people there, all this noise, all this stuff, like, oh god, it's just miserable. Like if you try to get out of it or change the plans or change the locale based on just that, then you're possibly making a selfish mistake based on your own adaptations, right? Or another example would be if you're a parent, you're a Zoid and you're a parent, and like, you know, obviously your kids are going to school, and you know, not going to parent like school events and something. Or if you, and I always went, but I was always like mentally, like I said, I was always mentally checked out back then. But like, say, making the decision of like not going, or letting mom take them and you stay home, or making excuses, whether it's work or whatever, for not going, right? Things like that. Those would be ways that you would be kind of slipping up as a parent because of your schizoid sort of ways. Other stuff too would be, say you go to an event, right, and you know, your kid has friends, right, and your kid's friends' parents are there, right, and you avoid contact with the other parents, or you're kind of like, oh yeah, and like you're kind of like, you know, not engaging with them because, you know, schizoids and engaging with people, like, right, it doesn't go great usually, and it's not something we get a lot out of, but that establishes things for your kid, right? They see mom, dad talking to my friends, mommy and daddy, and that makes them feel good. That makes them feel secure. So making the decision of, oh, well, I'm just going to avoid the people there. I'll go, but I'm just going to avoid talking to anyone there that goes up to me. They may see that. Your child may see that. And your child's not like you. So that's something to always think about. When your kids get older, telling them what you think is pointless or stupid or boring or dumb or, you know, whatever. Complaining out loud around your children about how tiresome something is, how boring something is, how like unrewarding something that you have to do is, right? Especially if it's something that has to do with something they want to do or you need to do for them, right? Whether it's something like going shopping for food, something like attending an event that's associated with them, them asking you to see some other family member, and then you going, making excuses for why we can't go see, you know, aunt or uncle, Like, those are struggles. Yeah, Gator, they're real struggles as a parent and a schizoid, but those are struggles. Those are your struggles. Those are not your child's struggles. And that's something that I've always felt, but I still was checked out, and I would still complain to my wife. I would never complain to my kids or around my kids. I would avoid that, but I would complain to my wife, like, do I have to go? Like, is this something I have to? Can't I? Like, well, I would do stuff like that. I don't do that as much, like, almost at all anymore. But like, almost like at all. Actually, now that I think about it, I just go. But yeah. So that was like probably hard for her to hear all the time, right? And at the time, especially, we didn't know what was up. Like, we didn't know. She probably just thought I was like, just uninterested, or like in like that kind of like, selfish way, right? And it was more like, it's hold on, my little one. Oh, speaking of which, 1 second. There we go. Yeah, that was my little one. She always comes in. For those that watch me already, like around this time, she comes in, she says goodnight, gives me a hug and a kiss, and she goes back. She goes to sleep. On the days I stream, my wife, does story time and all that kind of stuff. My wife knows the work I do, and although she doesn't like fully get it all the time, because like, we got a lot of stuff. She understands its importance, at least to me. So, what was I saying? I usually even parent. Are you worried about your kids developing schizoid qualities? I usually, I'm worried about my schizoid qualities negatively impacting their perspective of the world, their perspective of myself and my place in the world, their place in the world, them thinking that my pessimism or my negativity also is connected to them somehow, or being a parent. You know what I mean? Like, it's the displaying or vocalizing a lot of negativity around your kids about like whatever, like people, social events, all things like that. Yeah, it could have an impact, because they might not be as zoid like you, and they're probably not going to be unless like you're totally checked out as a parent, in which case, like, yeah, they may, yeah, you're projecting onto them, like, you're projecting onto them stuff about, well, you're not really projecting onto them because you're not seeing them like that, but you're putting out an energy, you're putting out a feel, a vibe, right? And kids are really sensitive to those things, and it will affect them. It's kind of like, okay, like, say somebody grew up in a household that was like a lot of yelling all the time. Like, they're probably going to grow up and be like people that are like yellers, or they're going to be incredibly quiet because the yelling was too much, right? It's going to affect them. Even if it's like a loud family and it's not angry yelling, it's just a really loud family, that's going to affect how their behavior kind of develops, because that's what they mirror, that's what they're around, right? So if daddy is always just like complaining and morose and making like sarcastic comments about this and everything and being just kind of a little jaded fuck, they're going to see that. They're going to pick that up. And, it's you don't know what kind of adaptations or what kind of, how they're going to deal with that behavior, how they're going to interpret that, right? For all you know, that could be you know, potentially due to their own sensitivities, like something that they found like, you know, traumatizing, like neglect, maybe feelings of neglect and stuff, right? Daddy never wants to be anywhere that we go, right? That doesn't make a child feel secure for obvious reasons. Even if you're kind to them and you're loving to them, it's still like something that you're not doing them any favors, right? So that's something to really keep in mind. If you're a mom or a dad and you have these adaptations, you really have to keep that stuff in mind. You got to sort of check yourself. Just like other people have to like check their temper, you know, because they know they kind of have a temper around their kids. You have to kind of check your like depresso shit and negativity and apathy and things like that. You kind of have to check it when you're around them, when you're raising the kiddos. It's hard for them to have a good time when they know daddy is having a bad time, right? When they know daddy's uncomfortable, and they know daddy is just doesn't want to be there. I work offshore. I'm literally gone 9 months out of the year. I 100% feel detached. Yeah, it's not good, man. And I know that kind of gig pays well, dude. But you know, early retirement maybe one day. But yeah, it's rough. And also, like, if you have younger kids and stuff, you don't want to work on yourself, right? And then figure out, you know, start getting a lot of your emotions back, and you start connecting to things and figure out, wow, partially like I did, I was just kind of checked out, and like I missed out, and that makes me really sad, and I hate that. So it's like one of those like regrets, even though like even if like everyone else thought I was like there and stuff, and I certainly hope everyone did. You know, my daughter, oldest daughter, like didn't ever feel like I was just like total, like I never displayed how checked out I was mentally. But now I don't have the strong memories. It's like something gonna look it's sifted through my fingers. It sucks. It's a sucky feeling. It's a shit feeling, I'll tell you that. But what? As they say, boys, I don't know if they say this, but like the way to heal the past is to create a better future. Anyway, so yeah, so that's one thing that I do suggest being careful with. If you ever want to have kids in the future, I highly suggest working on your Zoid shit and getting kind of a handle on it before you would decide to, you know, do anything like that. First off, the last thing you want is to, you know, yeah, man. Sorry, this is a tough conversation. This is a tough one because, like, for me, it's a really like sensitive subject because of how much I care about, not just like, well, obviously my kids, but just kids. You know, like it's just fucked because we were all kids. And yeah, I don't want my kids' memories to be as grim eternally as mine. How I worked on my issues. Well, yeah, I mean, it's just basically the same way that I'm trying to like get other schizoids to work on them. So one thing, one of the earliest, easiest steps, and it's like, I guess it's a good place for it in my opinion, is just join my server, which we we literally vet for schizoids and stuff. It's a schizoid server run by schizoids, modded by schizoids for schizoids. There isn't really a space like that, like on the internet, like at all. And so go there, see what other zoids are like, right? See what they talk about, see what they experience, see how they discuss things. You're not going to agree with all of them. That's just, in fact, you're probably going to dislike some of them, which is fine. That's normal. You like and dislike some people, but you're going to find people that are relatable. You're going to find people that you dislike, but you relate to their issues. So that's going to be different. That's a big difference. This is an odd conversation for me because I'm not necessarily too young to start a family anymore, but yet I still don't want to have kids. Nothing is schizoid related, I don't feel. Though, yeah, it's fine. Everyone has to have kids. So. Don't forget to feed your kids some broccoli. I know. Oh, aha! Ha! That's a callback from Faxon. Inside joke. Fucking Faxon. But yeah, like, so step one, because I don't know where else to tell you to go, like, see other schizoids. There's not like a schizoid zoo somewhere, you know. I guess the closest thing is the Zoid Void. So you go there, you see the polls, you see what people react to, you see not everyone's chatting. Most of the people there are lurkers, but even the lurkers often like vote on the little polls and stuff. We have a bunch of channels. You could see how schizoids on that server approach psychological things, whatever subject. And you might read through there and you might find those kind of idiosyncratic perspectives and styles of approaching stuff, or their perspective on people and socializing and whatever. Like, you can find that resonance, right? You can go there and shit will resonate with you. You'll be like, oh shit, like, okay, there's other people that this is what they experience, right? And you'll have different flavors, right? Because you'll have the more autistic zoids, and then you'll have the more schizoid ones like me. And so you'll find you won't relate to all of them, and you don't have to. But you might relate to some of the core issues, the core hesitation, and especially the persistence when it comes to like protecting one's autonomy, or just autonomy in general. Is a very important thing for schizoids. Autonomy. Sure, it's resonating, but it's not like these people have solved their schizoid condition. No. I didn't say that solves it. So that's step one. You realize I am just a human. I am not separated. I am not cursed to walk the earth like was it Abel or is it Cain? I can't remember. Cain killed Abel. Yeah, Cain. So, right? Yeah. So you're not Cain, right? You don't have to walk the earth forever alone and disconnected and an alien among the humans. That's step one, is realizing that's not the case. That's like one of the first steps. Okay. And then step two would be to take that leap of putting yourself out there, of typing, maybe even going on VC, talking about these experiences, and talking about other things, and then seeing what resonates there, what connects there. It's like, oh, look at that. You understand that? Oh, look at that, right? And so I need a Discord server with thousands of people to satisfy my overwhelming need to be seen and connected with random people. I'm glad you need that, I guess. Daddy wasn't there for taking me to the fair to comb my messy hair. Daddy wasn't there. There wasn't there. Daddy wasn't there. Isn't that that song by I like that song. It's by what is it called? Everclear? Or is that what the name of the band? Austin caught me in the first act. What's with that? This guy. I agree, the most liberating thing I've been discovering is other people have the same thing going on, and you're not uniquely fucked. Yeah, you're not uniquely fucked is good. And then you start realizing, wow, there might be people in the world I can actually like feel okay around, because they don't have the expectations that people generally have of me, and I don't have of them, and those people are okay with that, and I can still spend time with these people without all the drawbacks, all the things that make socializing generally so unrewarding or more trouble than it's worth, right? And through that safety, through that communication, you start, Daddy gave me a name and then he walked away. Yeah. That was like a band I used to listen to when I was in high school. Everclear, yeah, Everclear. And so, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So then you start, I don't know, maybe hanging out. But there isn't all of those hang-ups, right? It's just, oh, hey, I like same thing you like. Want to do the thing or talk about thing? Yeah, okay. And then you talk about thing. And then you're like, wait, this person isn't like trying to be my friend? And they don't want me to try to be their friend, right? Be their friend in this kind of what you understand and have seen what that is, and you don't want to take part in. You then discover, oh wait, there's different ways to be a friend. It's not the ways that the average person does. There's a way you can be a friend in a way that makes sense to both of you who don't want the conventional friendship. You don't want the back and forth, constant like validation of the friendship, the need to see each other all the time, or think, oh well, if I don't hit them up after a week, they're gonna think I'm not talking to them. Like all that stuff that you're just like, I don't want to take part in all that shit. Those are the kind of people you're more likely to find on, say, the Zoid Void, right? And like, it's that like lack of constant interpersonal or conventionally interpersonal style communication and expectation. And so that's a really important step, I think. Redefining, reconceptualizing the word friend, the word socializing, the word partner. Understanding that your boundaries are boundaries that exist for other people. They're just not really as strong for most people, right? That there are other people that, you know, put at the top, in their top 3 at least, autonomy, their autonomy. And you can be friends with somebody that's like that too, because neither of you is going to want to overstep the other. And that comfort, that safety, allows you to start establishing those connections. And then once you have just a few of these connections, even one, you know, 2, for many schizoids, that's enough to satisfy that existential, that kind of, you know, human DNA driven social need to have some connection to your own species. Schizoids don't need a lot of friends once they discover, like, to fulfill that kind of empty, that hedgehog dilemma, empty space where they want like just the way to connect to people in some way, somewhere, somehow. Like, not in the way that they usually connect. You don't want that, but you still have that something in there that nags at you, that you even see as a weakness, maybe. It doesn't take very many people to satisfy that. It really doesn't. Especially not for Zoid. Maybe like 1, 2. That's it. And it'll be that kind of dynamic. I mean, it was really funny. Like, the people I am closest to now, like, we would have this kind of back and forth of like, so, like, we hang out, but we don't have these like, we would have the discussions. I'm like, but I don't expect you to like need to hang out with me, and I don't expect you to like go out of your way or to like sugarcoat a bunch of stuff. And lie to me because like you don't want to hurt my feelings. Like I don't have those expectations of you, and you don't have them of me. And there you go. Then you go, so I guess we're friends? It's like, yeah. Cool. All right. And then it's a nice feeling. Because then you organically start kind of connecting to the other person. Then you start having like, it's funny because the schizoid does have, needs. That there are things, there are expectations technically that a schizoid would have of someone they would be able to categorize as a friend. And those things are essentially the opposite of what the average person needs to establish that. It's kind of the same way how a lot of like other types of neurodivergent people, like autistic people, they don't have friendships the way neurotypical people have friendships. The reasons, the motivations, what connects them, the same needs, the same expectations. They don't have a lot of that stuff. And because of that, they have friendships, but they're kind of, friendships between autistic people are oftentimes very different than what you would see, or what regular people would call neurotypical people would call friendship, right? And for the Zoids, it's the same thing. Friendship doesn't have to be seeing each other in person, if ever, or all the time, or anything. Friendship doesn't have to be constantly like having to report your everyday occurrence to the other person. Friendship doesn't have to be when you're having a bad day, they better be there for you. That's not what friendship has to be, right? Now, if one of my friends is having a bad day, would I be there for them? Yes. Do I have to be? No. Do they expect me to be? No. But will I do it? Yes. And why? Because they don't expect it, and they don't feel entitled to it. Because I don't feel that way about them. If I'm having a bad day, even if I communicate it, I do not expect them to come comfort me or try to talk to me about it. But again, that's how it is. Like a good example too of like a schizoid friendship. I don't see schizoid as a negative anymore. It's just how our personality is. Aspects of it are disordered. There are aspects of it that are just kind of like, okay, just your personality, but there are aspects of it that are actually like still neurodystonic. Man, I'm so tired. Oh my, ego dystonic. Yeah, I'm dealing with allergies, but yeah, there's still very ego dystonic stuff in there. Like for example, something like you being able to establish this kind of thing with somebody and then like zoiding out anyway because of your preconceived notions, because of your past traumas. I don't want to distract the stream time, but it's just like there should be another level, like overcoming whatever made us schizoid in the first place. No, that's not how that works. You can't just overcome it completely. There are parts of it they're just a part, you're just part of your personality now. And to believe it was their iDad? Wait, no. It's like y'all won't try to set goals inside of boundaries of others and try to get them to believe it was your idea in the hopes of others returning the favor? I'm not sure what that means. Like okay, I'll just tell you how like me and some of my Zoid friendships and stuff can be, right? So if I'm like bored and I tell somebody that I'm cool with or have established this kind of connection with, I'll say, hey, you want to watch this movie? Or I'll be like, hey, you want to check this out? And if they're like, nah, I'm busy, I'm playing this game right now, my reaction is cool. And then I just go about my business. You know what I mean? It's that like, and they do the same for me. And there's no actual, there's nothing to tolerate there. It's just, get the vibe. You like, that's it. No drama, no, it's absurd. And then when they hit me up and it's the same situation, I do the same thing. And then there's times in which one of us hit up the other and those things align. We both are like, yeah, okay. And then we do the thing, or we talk, or we hang out. And that's it. That's all. Nothing else. No, hey, same time next week? No. Unless it's for a game reason or like a movie thing, like we're doing we're trying to watch a TV like a show or something, or we're trying to like rank up in a game or something like that. Then it's like, yeah, we're meeting up for the game. But once that game's over, and we don't need to find something else to replace it. I'm not upset they don't want to do the thing, because I only wanted to do the thing if they also want to do it to begin with. Yeah, exactly. Like that's my whole thing. Like, if I'm like, hey Zoid, bud, I want to show this movie to somebody. I think it's really good. I think you might like it. You want to watch it? Like, I don't want them to be like, oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess, yeah. I won't be like if I don't want to have that thought in my mind that the person's just agreeing because we're friends. If I knew that's what's happening, I'd rather they just not do it. Like, what's the point? I'm not trying to drag them out to do what I want to do. Right? And so I'm more comfortable with that. That honesty, that sincerity. I don't to me it feels like very sane, but there are a few things that do happen when you're trying to establish some kind of Zoid related friendships and stuff on these kind of sort of parameters. There's if both of you are open about like your issues and stuff, or discuss them even, there may be times where one of you is gonna just feel like zoiding out. Like you're like, I don't know how to deal with all of this. Like you're feeling all fucking mixed up inside because you're like, I have a friend, but like friend bad, and obligation, but then obligation out there, but cannot compute. Yeah, you could just like bail. You could just be like, hey, I'm gonna disappear for like a month. I don't know if I'll come back, but it's been cool, like legit, and whatever. And then the other person's just like, yeah, man, it was super cool. Hope to see you again. If I don't, then have a good life. You know how good that feels to the person that like says they need to just duck out? To feel like no guilt, no imposed shame for it, no shit like that. And then they duck out, and then while they're ducked out, there's probably a good chance they're gonna be like, if I go back, there's not going to be an expectation of me having to explain why I checked out for a while, because they know, and on top of that, they know that's my business, and they can ask, but if I choose not to tell them, I don't have to, and it's not a problem. And that is all these things are incredibly beneficial to the schizoid. And they will, in my opinion, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a therapist, it's just my opinion. I'm a schizoid life coach. They will heal some of these preconceived notions, some of these wounds. You'll be able to essentially use the old neuroplasticity to sort of start redefining what it is a friendship has to be, or doesn't have to be, or has to involve. And the same thing could be of a romantic relationship with another individual, if that's something you establish, right? But through that process, you also start realizing that, wait, the way other people, like regular people, interact and become friends and care about each other, all of that is valid. It is not cursed. It is not bad. It is all this kind of bad objecting of how other people are socially. You start realizing, oh, it's just I do it different. And it's just harder for me, and I have certain boundaries and parameters, but I don't need as much as they do, and at all. And yeah. And so then you start kind of understanding how they are about stuff, and respecting that is their way, and that's why you stay out of their way. I know this trait is spun into a positive, and I generally think it is as well, but I've started to recognize that some of these obligations can be fulfilling to have. It depends on what you're talking about. Like, if you choose to take it on, see, that's why it's all about autonomy. That's what I always talk about. If you choose to take on something, right, you're setting that upon yourself. You're not having someone impose it on you. And the reason, obviously, impositions are an issue is because of that schizoid sensitivity regarding their autonomy. And because they don't get much of a reward to begin with because of the other issues, their emotional detachment, all that sort of stuff, right? So obligations that could be fulfilling to the average Zoid, to accomplish them, to meet them, obligations that would feel that way to the average person, to the Zoid, it's just going to feel like an obligation with no reward, right? Like, for example, if you agree to something, you are obligated to do it because you agreed to do it. That is my opinion. That's why if you don't want to do things, don't agree to them. But it's how do I put this? Meeting an obligation that you chose, not that you were cornered into, that you were like you're shamed into, that you agreed to just to get out of something, to avoid like mental turmoil of another kind. No, something that you felt, I agree to that, and I'm gonna do it. And then you fulfill that obligation. Yeah, it could feel good. It could feel like something good. Yeah. Especially if it's like a self-imposed obligation. It's something that has to do with your ethics or your morality, that you really want to practice. And you tell yourself, I'm doing it no matter how shitty I feel, no matter how anhedonic I feel that day, I'm going to do it because I set out to do it. And then you do it. You set that obligation for yourself, or you agree to an obligation of your own volition. Yeah. Yeah. Like if I, like, for example, this is the only way I would like fulfill. Like, I have like I'm like cool with this person at work, right? And this person at work is not a Zoid at all. They got other issues. Right? Some of our issues cross, right? Cool. But I'm open about my boundaries and my expectations of having any kind of camaraderie that exceeds just being, work friendly. Like, oh, you want to talk with me and exchange quips and, occasionally talk about what's frustrating you at work and things like that. Okay, I can do that, but these are my boundaries. Are those boundaries satisfactory? And those boundaries will also be applied. I'm going to have those boundaries, right? And if they go, yeah, those are satisfactory boundaries, right? And they respect those boundaries, then I will feel like they're respecting my boundaries and my needs. So I feel okay with these other things they might need out of like camaraderie, whatever, right? So in other words, they may come to me saying that they feel bad about something, right? But because they're not doing the whole, hey, I told you I felt bad about something, why aren't you talking back? Why aren't you telling me anything, right? Because there's times where I just don't say anything because I'm busy. I can't deal with it right now. They're respecting that. So then when I can deal with it, I feel like I can do this, and I feel okay doing it because they are respecting my boundaries, and they have like a little need that needs fulfilling, like a little conversation, maybe I don't know, some kind of insecurity they want to discuss. Then I'll do it. I'll do it because I know I don't have to. Does that make sense? And because they're respecting my boundaries and my kind of idiosyncratic needs, which is don't expect a bunch of shit out of me just because we're work buddies. So, yeah, it's kind of I'll be honest with you, because like for example, I'm not really a fan of like getting a lot of like compliments and people telling me like, oh, you're so good, you're so nice, all this kind of shit, right? And I was open with this person about that. I'm like, I'm not really into that stuff. I don't really like that shit. So I hope that's all right with you. Or they would tell me like, oh wow, you're really cool, whatever. And I was just say, I'm not really into getting compliments and stuff. They actually kind of make me like they feel weird, uncomfortable. And they'll just be like, oh, okay, like that's fine. I just, you know. Or and then I find it wholesome that they'll be like, oh, by the way, that thing you did, I think the work you did was good. But we're not talking about you, just the work. Now, and I find it wholesome. Because then I see that and I read that and I go, that's nice. Like, that's nice, right? Because it is a form of consideration to the other person. And I'll tell you right now, most schizoids don't ever feel considered in that regard. Fuck you, Shadow or Joe Mama. You son of a bitch. You always like to come at me with those just to fuck with me. But yeah, so that felt nice to read. Like, oh, because I've said that. I'm like, oh, I don't mind if somebody tells me my work was good, but I just don't want them to associate it with like me as a person and that making me good or something, because it feels off to me. And yeah, they said, oh, I'm talking about the work. Just want to specify. It almost feels like they're overcompensating a little bit, but it's cute. It's cute. It's wholesome. And I guess that, you know, yeah, like those are the kind of people that aren't Zoids or whatever that I can vibe with. I probably can't get like super close, like with my Zoid friends that I do have, but I can vibe and I can be like, yeah, I appreciate this work relationship. This is cool. Like if I want to talk about work stuff, I have somebody I can, and I don't have to worry about like all these other things, right? And like I said, it's a quid pro quo situation too, because it's like, oh, if I detect like, oh, they need some kind of like a morale boost of some kind, I'll sit down and take the time and I'll look at it and I'll be like, no, here are the qualities that are good. I think the work you did was great because of this and that reason, right? And then that makes them feel good, and then I'm glad they feel good. Oh, you don't have to explain it to them. It's the same way like this. Like, okay, you don't have to tell them, oh, I'm almost schizoid and all. Like, if you want to do that, fine. That's up to you. That's perfectly fine. Maybe that's a conversation you can have down later. But, like, I'm talking about the same way that somebody's like you make a joke about, I don't know, getting hit by a car or something. And then the person tells you that you tell that to says, hey man, I prefer you didn't tell me stuff or jokes, or we talked about stuff about getting hit with a car, because I did, and like that left me kind of shaken up and traumatized for like a long time. So I prefer you didn't like tell me that stuff. Like if you're telling other people and I'm around, that's on me, but like don't talk to me about that kind of stuff. And they go, oh yeah, okay, cool, yeah, that's fine, I won't. Neat. It's the same thing. That's not telling everyone about your shit. Boundaries. Establishing them. Telling them like, oh, you know, if you feel like, oh, they want to like be more friends and they're saying stuff like, hey, let's hang out, let's be friends or something. And you tell them, hey, I'm not about that. I'm not the most social person. I prefer just like, you know, we talk about the stuff we mutually like or whatever, and we keep it just work related or just kind of on that level. if they're like, oh, well, I don't, geez, right? Then you know, like, that's not a person. That's not a person for you. This shit's not going to work. It's not going to be good for them. It's not going to be good for you. It's just all bad all around. But if they're like, hey, they're like, oh, okay, yeah, that's cool, man. Like, we'll just keep to the points of interest. You're fun to talk to about that stuff. They're like, yeah, thanks, I appreciate it. And they keep it like that? Fuck yeah. It's great. Personal compliments feel manipulative in a way. They don't bother me. I just don't get why people do it. Yeah, but see, that's kind of what I mean, right? That's part of the, in my opinion, that's part of the disordered thinking, right? Like, if somebody, like, thinking that compliments are all manipulation is wrong. That's just, no. It's not true. Right? Like, even compliments directed at you are not all subtle forms of, like, manipulation. That's not what's happening. What's happening is, there might be some of that, but what's probably usually happening is that person feels an impulse to say something about you or someone else that they actually feel at that moment, and then they say it. And then they feel good because they're expressing themselves, and the person that hears it generally accepts it, and it makes them feel good too. That's it. It's just literally like a natural, organic impulse that comes out of people. It's not, you know what I mean? And like you kind of have to reconceptualize that stuff. Because I used to see it like that. I used to like see like anyone that complimented me as like, what are they on about, right? But no, if somebody compliments me, and I'm never going to see them again, I just go, yeah, it's fine, thanks. But if I know I'm going to be around them a lot, that's when I'll be like, yeah, I'm not into compliments. Like, about me. If you want to say, like, the work's good, that's fine. There you go. And if they don't give a fuck, and they keep doing it anyway, that's when you, like, fucking ghost them, or you just go, hey, yo, man, I'm blocking you. Like, you're obviously not understanding what I'm trying to say. Bye. My mom constantly called me smart, like way too much, and everything she actually did contradicted that. Yeah, parents be like that sometimes. Like, I prefer it if somebody doesn't call me smart, but it can be nice if I do something in a smart way, and it's recognized as that was a good way to do a thing. Cool that you found it. That can make me go, yeah. That's not a negative. I don't get a negative feeling out of that at all. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, thinking like that what do they want? What's the motive? Like, that's disorder. Because most compliments are not. And most insults are just the same thing. It's just, they're just mad right then at you. And they have an impulse to be like, fuck you, man. But like, they're probably just like, they're probably just bad objecting you in some way that has to do with something they already don't like. Right? Like, if for some reason you told somebody, like, yeah, I'm not really, about, like, just hanging out and stuff after work. I just want to, and they're like, wow, you're kind of a jerk. They're just mad that, like, something they needed or wanted out of you is not being validated. And that's okay. They can go be mad. Most of them either make me suspicious or just don't understand why it was said. Buttering up brown is, yeah, I can detect that stuff, like, pretty well. Yeah, if somebody's like trying to be nice to me because they want something out of me, it's pretty obvious. It's pretty obvious. Like, especially if somebody is like, you know, when it's somebody that's like really like lathering it on, and they're really trying to get a positive, like, thing out of you. Then it's like, okay, you're doing this for you. Like, what are you doing? And that's when I'll just start like clowning on it. Like, I'll be like, why are you complimenting me so much? I don't even know you. Like, we don't know each other. You've seen me do, like, what, twice? What are you doing, man? And if they're, they get annoyed. Because you're, like, saying that. Especially after you already said, like, yeah, you know, don't mention it. It's fine. It's, you don't tell me all that. And they could, yeah, then just fucking clown on them. And then they'll get mad and they'll leave you alone. And that's it. Done and done. Like when a random junkie calls me bro because he wants money. We'll try to stay away from too many random junkies, but yeah. But yeah, I don't I've had people be like that, or like people that have this, like, they have their own issues and they want to be liked by others. And then like they want me to like them because they were like a coworker or something like that. And I'm not interested in liking or disliking them. I'm just like not interested in any of that. And the fact that they need this that much already makes them somebody that I probably won't like. So I'll just keep my distance. And then, yeah, like I've had situations where I eventually have to just be like blunt and mean. Because they're just not realizing it. Like I'm saying, like, yeah, I'm not about that. I'm cool. Nah, I don't really hang out with coworkers after work. It's not something I really do much. And then they keep thinking like, oh, come on, we're cool. We're friends. We're buds. Like, that's when you gotta be mean. That's when you have to just go, we are not friends. We are not buds. I do not like you. I'm indifferent toward you. But the fact that you're not respecting that is making me actively dislike you. So stop. Oh man, people are just devastated. But at that point, you're just like, hey, that's on them. You go fix your shit. Go fix your shit. Don't drag me into your shit. I'm not dragging you into mine. It's that simple. I mean, when I was younger, I would let other people drag me into their shit. That should stop. But even actually not even that young, even into like my late 20s and early 30s and stuff, I was still doing that kind of shit. Where like I thought, oh, like this is a person I can vibe with, and I was like going, okay, these are the things you have to do, right? Like you have to be like, no, yeah, I'm fucked up. I'm not. I gotta just learn to enjoy doing them, and then it just make me resentful and feel like shit. Yeah, that's bad. Because it was like just nothing. It's like it only becomes personal when other people make it personal. Yeah, for sure. For Zoids, that you don't have to deal with that very much, right? Zoids do have their sensitivities though. Like there's shit that triggers them into like anger and like pissed offness. I have mine. It's not like I'm totally like fine. Like for example, if somebody like I'm indifferent to insults and stuff toward me, right? But if somebody talks shit about my kids or says something negative about my children, especially something that's absolutely untrue, I am very emotional. I'll yell in your fucking face. I will ban you from the server. I will ban you from chat. I don't care. I don't care if it's unfair. I don't care if it's arbitrary. It's enough for me. So that's my sensitivity, right? Don't talk about my family. Especially in a negative light, I mean, particularly. I hate the most is an unexpected person situation differently and presented to me. Presented to my entire life. Wait, hold on. The thing I hate the most is when I'm expected to see a person or situation differently than how it's been presented to me my entire life. If that even makes sense. I abhor unnecessary confusion, basically. Well, I mean, well, if the way you're perceiving it's like, it's got like, it's kind of faulty. I mean, does that mean you prefer not to be corrected? Because then it's like, is that what you mean? Like you don't like being corrected about your perception of reality, even if it's not like accurate? Or is it only when it's like I don't know. I don't know what that means. I'm trying to figure it out. I never get mad in S. Would you agree that relating function is a better way to describe the phenomenon of personality? Nah. I don't think it's as simple as all that. Fucking my hair's all crazy. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe I don't understand what you're saying. Fucking, ugh. I hate when one strand of hair is on the wrong side and it looks all stupid. I have thin hair to begin with. Personality just seems too static. Oh, well, yeah, it's constantly ebbing and flowing, right? It reacts to certain things in certain ways. Hold on. This is driving me crazy. No. Stop. Camera's all reversed. Where's my camera? I gotta fix that shit. Stop it. Ah! I just hate when the hairline's all fucking weird. Anyway. So yeah, anyway, I think I said. Yeah. So again, if anybody wants to watch this shit, and then you want to do the timestamp thing, and then somebody else wants to work cool through me, whatever, to do editing for these streams, so I can like do like a 5-minute clip of whatever shit I said that was actually useful or like good to hear. I'll make the thing and I'll fucking upload it to my channel. I'll put a thumbnail on it, put it on the channel. You can have a credit. If you don't want a credit, don't worry about it. I can't afford to pay you, so don't expect that. But I can appreciate it. I can do that. That I can do. And it does help just kind of the advocacy of all this stuff that I like to talk about. Okay, I think I'm done. I'm tired. I spent all day working. Did like a long ass shift today. No, because if the only problem you have is dysfunction in your ability to relate, then I wouldn't even think that's SAPD. It's a different discussion, right? That's interesting. Like when people seem to randomly start treating you different. That's an example. Contradictory information that makes no sense. Oh, because then it gets like suspicious and weird. Yeah, like if somebody's behaves a certain way around you, and then all of a sudden their behavior changes in regards to you, like it wasn't a gradual thing, just all of a sudden. Yeah, that's really that's unsettling. That makes me suspicious. Absolutely. I think that should make anybody suspicious. I don't think that's even being paranoid. That's just like when you have like a boss that's a dick, and you just got like, this guy's just a dick, and then one day you come into work and they're like being super nice. Like the only thing I think of, either like somebody complained to HR, or they want something from me, like they want me to like work extra hours or do double shift, and then I'm like, fuck you. Yeah, that's all that goes through my head. I think I don't find it confusing. I just find it like suspicious. Triggers the old manipulation sensitivity. What are you doing? I think that's a good one. I don't think that's disordered. I would not consider that disordered to have that reaction. I think it's a very smart and healthy reaction. If someone's an asshole most days to you, and then all of a sudden they're being really nice, or they're nice to you most days and all of a sudden they're being disrespectful or rude, there's different ways to react to that. If it's somebody that's generally like chill and then they're not chill that day, my suspicion isn't like they're trying to manipulate me. It'll usually be like they're just having a horrible time, and it's a good thing I don't get bothered by them being kind of a dick, or they're off their meds, or somebody said something about me that is untrue, in which case they're stupid for believing it and not talking to me first. So whatever, stuff like that. That's what I'll think when somebody goes from generally chill to like just fucking a dick, like out of nowhere one day. Maybe they have a disorder of their own. Yeah, exactly. I'm more suspicious of people that flip a switch and act like really nice than people that are generally chill and then act like a fucking complete asshole that day. I just kind of go like they're having a bad day. They decided like they decided to kind of like fucking throw me into that, and it's a good thing I don't give a fuck. So hope they feel better. But yeah, if they're being nice, it's like Anyway, guys, thanks a lot for joining the stream. Thanks a lot for whatever stupid shit. Oh my god, there were so many of you, and I didn't talk to any of you. Oh my god. God damn it. This is why I gotta disable streamer mode, because I have streamer mode on Discord, and the problem is that it stops making the whatever stupid sound when someone joins, so I don't hear it. And so if I'm like caught in my own head and then people start joining, look, you don't catch it sometimes. I would have to have chat tell me, like, hey, there's somebody that wants to talk. I gotta just turn it on. I just hate the sound going off and on. People getting on and off and off and on. Ugh. So I don't know. I needed the window up to see it. But anyway, if Saintus, hello, I can't hear you because it's deafened. Or Shadow or Wisdom Seeker, that's a new one. You wanted to talk about this or whatever on the live stream, sorry, I'm going to end it. But if you want to talk about it after that, I am going to be going into the general on the server, general VC, and if it's a Zoid related questions or you just wanted to ask me something or just chill and look at whatever I'm looking at, whatever, I don't give a fuck, you're more than welcome to. And remember, guys, like, did I already say this part? I have a bad memory. Patreon, PayPal, that donations, fuck, dude, they help so fucking much. They just help a lot. So, and thank you for the ones that do it already, and for the ones that might do it at some point in the future. Appreciated. Oh, and also thank you to those that boost the server. And if you don't like PayPal, Patreon, you can even do server subscriptions. It basically works the same way. It's like a donation to my stupid ass. So, all right, as usual, when day is dark, always remember, happy day.